Hey, how you doing? Eric over at SoCal Cigars. I wanted to tell you guys about an event I just got to go to in May here, 2018, in Newport Beach, California, at a really nice hotel. A buddy of mine called me up and said, "Hey, I do this event every year. I think it's right up your alley. You might really get a kick out of going to this thing." And I'm like, "Well, what is it?" And he goes, "Well, it's put on by Cigar&Spirits magazine, which ironically is located in Southern California, not far from actually where I live. And what they do is they put on this thing they call the Ultimate Lifestyle Event. And what it is a group of manufacturers from the cigar industry and from the alcohol, high-end kind of liquor alcohol industry. They get together to basically promote their product. And it draws a lot of people. I mean, there was some high-end, there's Drew Estates, Johnathan Drew was there, some YouTubers like Cigar Vixen was there. I guess one day you'll be able to say that I was there. Doesn't really matter now, but maybe down the road. There was a famous boxer. There was a lot of people from the cigar industry there, a lot of people that own cigar shops and businesses and things like that. So it was a pretty cool thing. So here's the deal. It's a little pricey. It sounds like on the onset. To get into this thing is $75 a person. Rand my buddy was able to buy a lot of tickets, so he got them for $60 a piece. So that's what we paid to go in, with $60, which is obviously a little better. But here's the deal. I would argue that we did not leave with less than $150, $200 worth of product, either in our stomachs or in our goodie bag. So I think it's well worth going if you can swing it. So here's kind of what the deal is. You get the tickets, you get a wristband, and then you get this punch card, okay? And as you can see on the perimeter of the punch card is different cigar manufacturers. There's 13 of them. And that's who's going to those are the manufacturers that attended the event. And then there was a bunch of alcohol vendors as well. I mean, you name it. Every high-end brand of scotch, cognac, whiskey, bourbon, whatever, you name it, they were all there. Kettle One, all these guys. So what ends up happening is when you get there, you get a goodie bag. So everyone that goes gets this bag, and it is full of some collateral from different manufacturers. Obviously, they're looking to push their wares. That's why they're having this event, is to get their name out there and to push their product. But you get a few things like we all got like this little highball glass. It's Cigar&Spirits. Then Ventura Cigars was a big sponsor of the event, so they did. We got the glass, things like a little lighter sponsored by those guys, so that you get that. Matches. I think we even got a deck of cards, and again a bunch of other collateral. The magazine that I showed you was in there. But the key for this thing is to get this punch card. So here's how it works. When you walk into the event, the inside of the venue, around the circumference of this entire ballroom, is all the alcohol vendors, and then on the inside is a stage for dancing. There's a live DJ, there's free food, the whole bit. When you go outside in the patio area, it's like in a big permanent gazebo type setup, but it's set up like in a big horseshoe shape, and along that walkway are all the cigar vendors that are set up. And I'll dot some pictures throughout this video as well, so you can see what I'm talking about. I was going to shoot some video there, but man, it was wall-to-wall people, and it was loud. So I think that any video I did shoot was really hard to. You wouldn't even be able to hear it. It's just noise. It was so packed, but well worth going. So we show up. We went in, got our goodie bags. Went in and had a few drinks just to kind of get the ball rolling. Then we grabbed our punch card and we went out with the crowd, and you just start walking through the pack. So one of the cool things I noticed, I was wearing a Harley Davidson button-down shirt, and man, I had tons of guys coming up to me. "Oh man, you ride a Harley? I ride a Harley." And I mean, there was all these really personable, really nice people there, and you can tell these were some of these were pretty big wigs in the industry. Some of these people were coming in from out of country. I mean, this was a big event. Everyone was cool. I mean, live music in the background. It was awesome. And the cool thing too is you get to walk up and you get to, you're not just handing the punch card and say, "Okay, here's your cigar next." You could ask these guys about, where's it grown? Where's your facility? Ask them any question you have about their line of cigars, and that's why they're there. They're there to educate the public about their product. So it was cool to have that opportunity. And that's what would happen. So for example, I would walk up to one of the tables, I hand them my punch card, they take it, they punch it, and they hand me back the cigar and my punch card, and at that point you can ask them whatever questions you might have. And that was pretty cool. Like one cool thing, some of the cigar brands I don't know. I mean I know them, but I've never smoked them. These are not brands I normally hit up. The only thing that I was really familiar with was stuff at the Drew Estate table. They had the Cuba Maduro, which I've got tons of, and they had the Undercrown Maduro. So those I'm already familiar with, and the Gurkha. I mean, there's obviously kind of a standard Gurkha. I mean, I've had a million Gurkhas, but the rest that I've got lined up here, you can't really see. I'll hold them up. I'm not familiar with that well. I mean, I'm familiar with the brand, but I've never had them. And so that was kind of a cool experience that I'm basically walking away with 11 cigars I have never tried before. So that was really cool. And another cool thing was this one by Archetype. This is a cigar I've been noticing being advertised more and more online and in catalogs that I get. And so I was able to talk to these guys and told them, I said, hey, I'm pretty stoked that you guys are here. And they said, why? And I said, well, I've been seeing your presence bigger and bigger, and I've really wanted to try one of your cigars. And they were really stoked to hear that. They're like, that's awesome, man. That's why we're here. I'm really glad to be able to give you one of our cigars, and I really hope you enjoy it. That was really cool. Another cool thing for me, being a huge Drew Estate fan, is that Johnathan Drew was there. So I got to talk to him several times. So when I went up to his table, he's like, he had 2 different cigars, both that I already have. And he's like, so which one do you want? I'm like, I don't know. I go, I've got both these, and I've got a ton of them in my humidor. And we were kind of laughing, and I said, man, you guys are awesome. I said, all the guys I talk to about cigars, I'm usually pushing your product, and I always talk up your product because it's, to me, one of the best out there. And he's like, oh man, I really appreciate that. He was a really nice, humble dude, really friendly guy. Was really appreciative to hear someone that was a fan of his product. So that was nice to see that, he wasn't spoiled by the fame or whatever. Still a regular dude. And so we talked a little bit about that, and, he appreciated it. And in fact, I said, I don't know, give me that one. I don't remember which one it was. And as I walked away, he's like, oh, hey, dude, here, have the other one too. And because he was just a totally cool dude. So, and I'll put a picture of it. But later I walked back, and I had lit up that Cuba Maduro because I'm like, I want to get the rest of these cigars that I'm not familiar with into my humidor for like a month, let them settle down and get to the humidity that I want. But I'm like, I'll smoke the Cuba Maduro here because I already know what it's like. I'll just go ahead and light that one up. But man, I had that thing full ash all the way down to the band, and I walked back over and I just held it up in front of Johnathan Drew, and I'm like, this is why I buy your product, because the construction is dead on perfect. And he's like, man, that's awesome, dude. Totally appreciate it. And he was just totally cool. I'll put a picture of that up. So that was kind of cool to meet like an icon in the industry. And that's something you're not going to normally get to do, but at an event like this. But like I said, these are the cigars we walked away with. We walked away with 13 cigars. I can't tell you how much food and cognac and bourbon and whiskey and scotch we tried. That was, you could just go back and back and back. There was just no limit. There's no one saying, oh, no, you've already been. As far as that, the cigars, you got one each. But that's why they had the punch card set up. But the whiskey and alcohol, all that stuff, man, and the food, just whatever you want. So that being said, not everyone's going to be, in the position to go to that. Luckily for me, living in Southern California, living right near this magazine's headquarters, they held it in Newport Beach, so it worked out perfect for me. That may not be the case for you. So that's why I wanted to make this video, to maybe offer out, kind of 3 ideas I had based on the fact that I went to this event. One is, if you can go to an event like this, I would highly recommend doing it, because it's well worth the time and money, and you're going to have a good time doing it. Go for it. 2, if you're not in that kind of a position, which most of us aren't, I would highly recommend looking at your local brick and mortar cigar shops that are near you, because everywhere in the country, there's, within a reasonable distance, there's going to be a cigar shop. Most of them are putting on events that you maybe don't even realize they're doing. Because a lot of times it's people that maybe have a humidor there, or they store their cigars, or they're part of their monthly deal. They're getting all that information, but Joe Public's not getting any information about their events. But I know for the probably 3 or 4 or 5 cigar shops in my area, they're always putting on different events. One of them puts on like a pipe tobacco event for those that smoke pipes. Some are putting on food events or deals, like, if if there's 10 guys with you, you get a deal, or if you get, buy one cigar, you'll get another cigar for a discounted price. I mean, they're looking to promote getting people into their locations. So I would highly recommend seeing if they have a calendar of events, especially online. I mean, most people do everything online now, so you can just tap into that and see if they have a calendar of events and start going to that stuff, man. That's how you build your network of people you can go hang out with. I mean, like, I hang out with my Harley dudes, and I hang out with some off-road guys. I mean, we all have our little niche of things we like to do in life. And if cigars is one of those things, get a group of cigar guys together. That's one of the things we do in my riding group for my my Harley. Is a lot of the time, a lot of the wives, they don't really care about cigars, so they'll go and they'll do like a painting night or a bedazzling their jacket night, whatever they do. And they have a blast doing it. So we'll take advantage of that, and we'll make a cigar night for the guys. So there'll be 10, 15 bikes, and we'll cruise down to a local beach city where I live. And there's a cigar shop on the second story, and it overlooks the ocean, and we get a big pizza delivered. And man, we just have a blast. And the guy is stoked because you got 10, 15 guys that come up that we're dropping money. We're buying cigars left and right. We're buying drinks. We're ordering pizzas. We're doing all sorts of stuff. He's thrilled and we'll tend to go on a weird night like a Tuesday or a Wednesday when probably he doesn't have that much business. And so to see 10, 15 people roll in, he's stoked. He's making some money for that, usually a dead night. And that brings me to my third point. If you don't have the chance to go to an event like I did, and if you don't have, a brick and mortar shop around you that's doing monthly events, do what I've done. I've walked into several of the shops near my house, and I said, hey, I ride with a bunch of guys. And a group of us tend to get together, and we like to find a cigar place to be our destination, and we'll make a nice ride out of it, and we'll end up at the cigar place, and we buy cigars and drinks and food, and we'll drop some good money here, and I'll ask them, would you like that to happen at your shop? Would you be willing to accommodate us? Make sure that we'll give you the heads up of when we're coming, so that you can make sure we have room, and that we can all sit in the same area in the smoking lounge, and maybe make sure, maybe you have 2 bartenders that night if there's going to be like 15 or 20 of us, and just work out a deal with the cigar shop owner. And trust me, they're thrilled, because you're basically walking in saying, hey, can I bring you a bunch of money? And they'll say, yeah, that would be great. So I've never approached someone on that way of thinking and have them say, oh no, I don't want you guys to come over. They're all stoked. And some of these places are kind of high end too, and here we are rolling in leather vests on Harleys. They couldn't care less. They're stoked, and they're really friendly, and they could be wearing, a lot of times, one place I'm talking about, all the guys there are wearing like 3-piece suits, and we're rolling in with leather biker vests, and everyone's just shaking hands and talking about, I'm telling you, in the right arena, the cigar vibe tends to break down a lot of the walls amongst the classes. I found that it's just as easy for me to hobnob with some guy in a 3-piece suit while I'm wearing a biker vest. And it doesn't seem to matter, because we have the cigar thing in common, and it seems to not make a difference. And that's kind of a cool thing I found, because not everything is like that. Some things you do in life, there's a lot of snobbery going on. And there can be in this, but other than some snobby cigar owner, company owners, like that own brick and mortar places that can kind of have attitudes, like I've talked about. I found that most people that smoke cigars, man, that becomes the common denominator. You just have a good time and just chat, and it's all good. So, but anyway, that's all I really wanted to say about this. I just thought that it was, I was stoked to go to this, and it made me kind of think, well, how could this curtail into something that might benefit you? Like I said, the recap is those 3 things. You can do a big event, do the big event. If you can't, find out if your local place is doing some kind of a monthly or quarterly event, and go to that. And if that's not happening, 3, go to your brick and mortar shop and say, hey, I want to make a cigar night with a bunch of my buddies. What can we arrange here? And I guarantee they're going to be more than happy to do that for you. So anyway, that's kind of it. I just wanted to make sure to get that out to you. Thought it was cool, and I wanted to kind of pass that on. So again, feel free to make comments, like, subscribe. You know the drill. Anyway, again, Eric at SoCal Cigars, and go out and have some fun with cigars, and go find an event near you. And if you can't find one, you make one. See you next time.